Greetings. Welcome back to Lantern Bridge. If you're getting this now, please subscribe by crossing the bridge. Leave a like in the lantern for the next passerby as we explore true left-hand path. Not the fake stuff you're used to. Speaking of fake. So the witch's curse with Charlie Kirk. And I've also, as an aside, I've noticed some prominent YouTubers, occultists, magicians, really exaggerating how the liberals caused this and it's liberal violence. They've really gone Trumpian, really have gone to the right. And I don't think, as a spiritual person, as a teacher, you should jump in and make those accusations. Now, when you start looking at the facts, overall, even the FBI will state it's right wingers that have the most danger in terms of terrorism. And I'm not blaming them either. Right now, we just want to analyze the curse, the magical aspect of this murder of Charlie Kirk. Why should I opine? Well, I used to do black magic. I have a lot of years, decades of looking at this, but also, I'm really skeptical that people think it's so easy. Now, let's just dive in. What is the background here? What is the witch curse story? So, on 9th of September this year, the website Jezebel published an article titled, "We Paid Some Etsy Witches to Curse Charlie Kirk." The article claimed that the author commissioned witches via Etsy to cast hexes on Charlie Kirk. Examples cited included a make everyone hate him curse and a powerful hex spell. One proof of cast included a photograph of Kirk's face being burned. The author insisted the spells were intended to be mild annoyances, wake up with an inexplicable zit, microphone malfunctions, etc., and denied wishing physical harm. We'll go into this. 2 days later, September 10th, Charlie Kirk was assassinated during a public event, as you all know. After the killing, Jezebel added an editor's note condemning the shooting and later removed the article entirely. Who was involved? The claims and counterclaims. Priestess Lilin and Leah Mashtu from Strict Sisters. One self-identified witch, Priestess Lilin, claimed to be part of the Strict Sisters Etsy account, alongside a high priestess, Leah Mashtu. Lilin stated that her path is of benefic magic, healing, protection, divination, while Leah Mashtu handles malefic magic like curses and pact making. Lilin has said the curses are spiritual in nature and that they do not intend physical harm or death. After the assassination, Lilin expressed regret for distress caused and offered to speak privately with Kirk's widow, Erica. She and Leah Mashtu have reportedly been banned from Etsy. Jezebel, the author. Jezebel and its parent, Paste Media Group, maintained the article was intended as satire, a commentary, not a literal incitement to harm. The article included disclaimers that the author did not intend to call upon dark forces to harm Kirk. After the killing, Jezebel issued an editor's note condemning violence and distancing from real-world harm. Key uncertainties: what's not established. There is no credible evidence linking the curse or hex spells to Kirk's assassination. No recognized causal chain. But that's sort of how magic works, isn't it? Witchcraft practitioners consulted have noted that curses typically don't manifest so immediately or directly if one believes in them. Uh, and I'm not a Wiccan or anything, so that's them. Sometimes curses can happen instantly, and I've experienced that. The precise mechanism or ritual, if any real one beyond performance, symbolic gesture, used in the curse is unclear. Whether the curse, unquote, was ever seriously intended beyond satire or provocation is ambiguous. The role of the article's framing, timing, and the real world effects on Kirk, psychological, reputational, security, remain topics of debate rather than settled fact. Reactions and consequences. Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, said she was rattled. This is important. She was rattled by the curse story, and she and Charlie reportedly had a priest visit to pray over him before the fatal event. Commentators and media outlets have debated the ethics of satire, free speech, and when symbolic acts bleed into real-world danger. Some in pagan witchcraft communities raised concern that the controversy could fuel negative stereotypes or backlash against occult practitioners. Jezebel's removal of the piece and addition of disclaimers suggest legal or reputational risk concerns after the tragedy. Okay, so that's the overall thing. My take on this, and please, if you're in here, give me some thumbs up. Donate some money if you're enjoying this. $5 would be great. So why am I doing this? Well, the analysis can get go to extremes. I think from my perspective, as someone practicing Buddhism and believing in reincarnation and karma, I think that's the real issue here, karma. If we look at curses, let's look at curses. Okay. In order to do a curse, in order to do magic, you need a level of stability and a level of karma for that power to work in general, in my opinion. If you're deluded, if you're a narcissist, egomaniac, if you're a showman on Etsy, declaring you're a black magician and all this crap, you probably aren't. So if you're messed up, depressed, on drugs, have psychopathic tendencies, in other words, you're unstable. If you're mentally unstable. Now, if you're a person naming yourself after a demon, like these witches on Etsy, going on Etsy and burning people's pictures for money, you're probably, and I could be wrong, I think you're unstable. And it sounds like a scam to me. It sounds fake. So, can anybody just do magic and kill people like that level? Not if you are that messed up, in my opinion. It's like, the loudest person is the least is the person you need to fear the least. It's the quiet one, right? And even so, these YouTube witches and cursors, all of that, they are mostly frauds / deluded, self-deluded, and messed up. And if you're messed up, self-deluded, and you've got bad karma and you're purposely ripping people off, no, your magic's not going to work. Curses or blessings, in my opinion. You need to be ethical. You need to be able to meditate. You need to understand that the karmic ramifications of just desiring harm on someone. Even these minor things, causing a pimple or microphone malfunctions. How is that ethical? Imagine you're doing it to the person. You're going up and cutting the microphone wire, you're making them sick, you know, that's illegal and wrong and unethical. Just because you're doing it hidden doesn't save you karmically. So here, overall, my view is these people are fake, and the intent. I don't think the journalist Jezebel, I don't think they really believed in this. I think it was a joke, right? But here's the other thing. The Kirks didn't think it was a joke. It rattled them. There is a psychological harm. Hey, we're cursing you. We burned your picture. Even if you don't believe in magic, that ugly feeling of people wanting you to be harmed, that is a psychological attack. I have been attacked that way by infamous black magicians. And I have the experience I can unpack it and go, all right, do these people have power? No, they're frauds. Um, am I protected? Am I protected? Yes. Even if there was something out there. And okay, no matter what, you're a human. If someone's wishing you harm, that's going to trigger a defensive. Whoa, I'm in danger. Maybe it's identity theft. Maybe it's just a feeling, right? So then that's where the meditation and self-awareness can come in. And you say to yourself, okay, there's some anxiety here, a minor bit. Okay, let it pass. So I can handle that. The Kirks handled that by getting a priest to make themselves feel better. I think that burning someone's picture and saying that you're cursing them is a threat, and it's meant in the least to cause psychological harm. It's like, you better watch yourself. We're coming. What does that mean? We're going to come and protest? It could be. We're sending bad vibes? It could be. Or worse, we're going to cause physical violence. The article had to clarify this, right? So I think that I think it's harmful. I think it's unethical. And to rattle people with any form of violence like that is, I think, unethical. So is there a lawsuit there? And publicly issuing a spell, a curse on people, would that potentially incite a psychopath to violence? There's another, yeah, everybody's responsible for themselves, but when you're talking on an international level, this guy was internationally known. He spoke at Oxford, he spoke at hundreds of universities engaging in debate. Now, let's potentially stir up more hate against this guy. Like, there's going to be a nut out there, People don't seem to care about the ramifications. Now, these people who did the curse, and not just the witches, but the people who paid for it, they're going to pay for it in another way, in my opinion, karmically. I would guess not that much because I don't think that the real cause was this, but just wishing this kind of thing on someone, even that you don't like them. In Buddhism, we would have compassion for our opponent and also be thankful that they're there to help us debate. And, that's great. Do I like, from what I've seen of Charlie Kirk, I think, I don't think he was how can I say this with some compassion? I don't think he was totally sincere. And I don't think that he was a force in the end for good. I think his ideas were mm, slightly unethical. I'll leave it at that. But that doesn't matter. He was, murdered. And I'll go to the real reason, in my opinion, from a mystic's point of view, from a Buddhist point of view, and a magician's point of view. And people don't want to, when bad things happen to good people or children or babies or animals, there is a reason. And if you have past lives, the echoes of your deeds, good or bad, good and bad, bleed in, no pun intended, bleed into your current incarnation. So unfortunately, in this life or from beyond, I'm not here to judge, but from a Buddhist perspective, he did something that caused this to happen to himself. And that people don't want to say that. When bad things happen to me, it's I in my view, in karma and reincarnation, I caused that. Now, Charlie Kirk, and I don't, please, I'm not trying to make anybody feel worse, but this is analysis from a mystic point of view and a karmic point of view. He said that it's okay. He basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, he basically said it's okay that your child or you get killed in a mass shooting. That's the price we pay to have the right to have arms, guns. He was okay with having your child get blown away and not being able to have even an open casket because of the damage some of these guns can do. And that happened. That is a fact. He's okay with that. He said yes to that. That is the norm, and I agree with it, and that is the price we pay. We don't need any changes in gun laws, in who gets guns. Don't even try. So, this is in a way normal to him. And he was putting himself at risk while saying it's okay. The situation we have in America is the price we pay. Well, he did. And I don't see anyone talking about, like what if here's the thing, that was that grandfather's rifle. Let's say that this accused kid did do it. And with that gun, why wasn't that gun in a locker? Why wasn't there if the grandfather was giving it to the son or to the grandson, why aren't there psychological evaluations before someone's allowed to have a gun? See, they say, oh, it wouldn't have been prevented. It couldn't be prevented. Maybe not, but it could have been, it might have been preventable. So in Australia, it's you can't have a gun unless you have I- unless you are a farmer, unless you are a professional, like a sports shooter, and it's very hard to get. I think it's like 95% of the people don't have guns. 99. There was a mass shooting in Tasmania, the Port Arthur massacre, and after that, they removed all the guns. You had to turn them in. Now, did Australia go too far? In my opinion, yes. I This is my stance, and this is political, and this isn't really mystical or anything like that, but I think it's common sense. And I'm American, but I live in Australia, and I think there's two extremes there. America is one extreme, basically, and it's too late now. There's so many millions of guns, you can't get rid of them. And then there's Australia, no guns, but that puts you at the mercy of home invaders and such. The balance to me is um, a thorough psych evaluation. You can't be depressed. You can't be on medication, mental illness medication. Um, Maybe if you did in the past, it's a red flag. Um, and if you've committed a crime, you can't have a gun. I think that's fair. A violent crime, spousal abuse, threats, um, anything like that. No, no, no weapons. And people always make, ooh, let's just start somewhere. No weapons that were made for war, that can blow big, that can use ammunition that can cause major damage. And here people are going to be, you don't know guns, blah, blah, blah. I'm from Michigan. I grew up my whole life with guns. My father was a gun collector. I've gone hunting a couple times when I was a kid. I didn't like it. I don't like killing. I killed 2 deer. Um, I went through gun safety courses. Yeah, that's another thing. You have to go through a big course. You have to pay for the license. Limited. This is my suggestion of what's common sense. Limited to hunting rifles, shotguns, Glock pistols. That's okay. Yes, can you go killing people? Yeah, but not as bad as an AR. You know what? Weapons originally designed for war. We just got to stop somewhere. And I know there's blurred lines. Let's just focus on things that can be used for guns or for hunting and basic home self defense. And then um, you have to keep your guns locked up. Now, in Australia, when you do have a gun, police can randomly come to your house, knock on the door, and you have to let them in. They don't need a warrant because you've registered and you've taken away that right for yourself of privacy. They're allowed to go in to where your gun locker is and make sure it's locked and that the ammunition is separate. Um, in terms of home self defense, um, there might be some leeway on that, in my view. But in other words, I think you could have it loaded and in a locker that is quickly accessible. You know, so those are the compromises. I think basically if that rifle were in a locker and there was psychological evaluation, then I don't think Charlie Kirk would be dead, curse or no curse. Unfortunately, it happened. And I think the real cause, I mean, this is my view, would be karmic. That's my, you know, this goes back thousands of years. And if you think about it, you know, it's your actions cause a reaction. And if there are other lives, those echoes of your past deeds, good and bad, will continue on. So, no, I don't think this curse did anything because A, those witches are too messed up mentally to really do anything, in my opinion. B, the intent wasn't really to curse him; it was a joke and a bad one because it caused psychological stress on the Kirk family, which I think is unethical. Minor, they're public figures, I get that, but still, it's not called for. B, I hate to say this, but Charlie Kirk said he's willing to sacrifice your children. He's willing to have you killed for that right to bear arms. Right there, I think, if anything, when he said that, that might have been a big karmic mm, reaction because he did pay for it, but you didn't have to. He did. And he said he was okay with that. So I think people should emphasize that. It could be karma going back, 5 lifetimes ago. We don't know. But I believe it is, as his good book says, you reap what you sow. Does that excuse it? No. The first thing of Buddhism is we don't kill. We don't kill animals, cockroaches. That is our goal, and even more than Christians, because Christians see animals and this world as theirs to exploit. So you're above the animals, you're above the insects. You can smash them, you can do whatever you want if it helps you, and there's really no sin against it. As opposed in Buddhism, we avoid even killing a fly. Now we know I'm breathing in microbes. I'm killing things right now. If I take a walk outside, I'm going to step on an ant, or take a drive. I'm killing hundreds of flying insects, right? We're in samsara. We're in this world of crap, basically. So it's the intent. We do our best, but you can't escape these negative karmas. What's the size of them? So I just want to shift this from, there were these occultists that have gone a little bit right wingy that I've noticed online. What's his name? Jason Louv, Magic Me. I noticed him, and who's the other dude? Lifting the Lamp. They've gone quite right wing. So I just wanted to give a little balance to that. It's not liberals, right wingers are arguably in general more violent and more dangerous. Those groups, not normal right wingers, but the extremes of it, left and right. There's a lot more right wing terrorist groups and dangerous people. Both are dangerous, the extremes. So I'm just trying to give a little balance and be fair. And I don't think it's the curse. I don't think it's, you know, just random. I believe in karma, and I think Kirk, you know, in this moment, in this world, of course, it's wrong. And what that kid did by shooting him was completely wrong. And he's going to be suffering for that too. So we have compassion and love for the Kirk family. I see there's a few people here. Please, yeah, do you have any comments or questions? Join in. Otherwise, I will finish this up. Please like, subscribe if you're seeing this. Send a super chat. Send some money if this made you think in a new way at all, or you just liked it, or whatever. I appreciate it because all the money just goes back into the channel, frankly. Well, thank you. I don't have much more to say about it. I think it's karma. I think we can do better with gun laws. He did say that, that murder is being murdered and having children murdered is okay as long as we have those guns. He did say that. So, heart goes out to such a young man being murdered in front of his family. Compassion for that family. But from my perspective, these were the real causes, not curses. We have to live with more compassion and care about what we say. And that goes for everyone. And this silly story, not silly that, of what happened to him. I mean, the curse and the Jezebel article, that the silliness of how that started, you can see how that connects to something much more serious. And there's something wrong in our culture. And we're not shocked. We're not here. We're not going to fix it like that. And it's probably just going to get worse and worse and worse. The answer is not right or left, politics. The answer, in my opinion, and that's what this channel is about, is, well, spiritual answers. Because this world, uh, it's just going to get worse and worse. It's known as Kali Yuga, and we're in a bad time, a confusing time. We need clarity, not witches on Etsy, not madness, not curses. We need to focus. We need to not be on drugs. We need to be meditating, understand our own mind, understand the world, and let that lead us to compassion and love. Maybe it's through Buddhism. Maybe it's through a more enlightened Jesus message focused Christianity, Gnosticism. As long as we know that murder is wrong, as long as we know that our actions have ramifications, and it could start with a little comment and lead to violence and destruction. People are careless these days, and in my opinion, it's just going to get worse and worse. The answer that I have found so far is in Buddhism. So that's just my opinion. And Buddhism allows you to do magic, but in a positive way, geared toward helping the world, not cursing people you don't like because of their politics. So thank you. And yeah, many blessings to you all. Compassion to everyone involved in this mess. This is my perspective on it only, just my opinion based on my spiritual beliefs and experience. Again, please like, subscribe, share, and see you next time. Bye for now.